Mr. Smith will now read the mission statement.
Evaluate the Fairview Park Master Plan relative to community needs and make master plan update recommendations to the Parks and Recreation Commission and City Council for the addition, reduction, elimination, or modification of park uses and master planned elements.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We'll now have roll call.
Okay, Davern.
Here.
Ramos.
Here.
Pop.
Here.
Marin.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Ambergy.
Here.
Eccles.
Here.
Verska.
Here.
Cummings.
Here.
A quorum has been reached.
Yeah? Okay, now, LaShonda.
Thank you, Chairman.
I was trying to speed it up.
Just wanted to address the committee briefly. I just wanted to draw your attention to your agendas that are in your packet that you all should have, and public can also get a copy of the agenda on the table right here to my left, your right. All corresponding communication that was received by the 6th of January has already been emailed to you all, and extra copies are also located on the table and in your packet as well. New correspondence that was received in between the 6th of January and 2 p.m. today are in the other 2 packets that are in your folders and can also be found on the table. Any emails that were received after 2 p.m. today are not included in these packets, but they will be for the next meeting. Also, for blue cards, we ask that people who would like to speak place your blue cards in the box near me, behind me on my left, your right. And before commenting on any item, I also ask that you state your name clearly. And even if you come up multiple times, again, please restate your name so that it can better assist me while taking minutes. That's all that I have at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, LaShonda. Item number 5 is presentations updates. We have none tonight. So we will go to public comment. There's a lot of people here, but I don't have all that many cards. So, oh, we have more?
Yeah, we have.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we start out hoping to have like 15 minutes, but I will see how far we get through things. You know, we've been through this drill quite a bit, quite a few times, so I'm going to ask you if you have something new, different to add, please do. But if you're just up there to say, no, I don't want athletic facilities, or yes, I do, that'll be enough. And we'd appreciate that because that'll enable everybody to get a say-so on it. So without further ado, the first card I have here is Jay Humphrey.
I'm Jay Humphrey, Costa Mesa resident, and actually I just really want to talk about the legacy you have the opportunity to leave to our children's children's children. Because the reality is no matter what we do, the moment we put hardscape of any kind, the moment we dedicate any part of what exists now in the park to anything other than its natural state, we are changing that legacy. And we can either make the choice to leave a legacy to our children's children's children, or we can make the choice to leave ultimately driveways and hardscape and what have you, because we all know that once we plant it in the dirt, no matter what it is, that will always be something planted in the dirt there. Will never go back to whatever it was. It's now lost its capacity. So for all of your choices, and I accept the fact that you all are caring about what Costa Mesa actually has when everything is said and done. And I understand that, and I applaud you for taking the time to spend on this committee. I just ask that you keep all your thoughts into what we are giving to our kids, not just for today and just for tomorrow. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Next card I have is Mark Mendez.
Good evening. My name is Mark Mendez, and I'm the interim chairman for the One Inyo Band of Mission Indians, a Hashima Nation. As y'all are aware, the southeastern quadrant of Fairview Park is a prominent village of the Ahashiman and Tongva people. Over the past month, various Ahashiman and Tongva people have spoke about the importance of preserving this traditional cultural property. Our connection to this space of origin are essential to spiritual and cultural balances. Additionally, it is important to note that unlike scientific information, cultural and religious values cannot be mitigated through archaeological excavations. Archaeological excavations with today's standards, state-of-the-art methods are destructive and is considered by our tribe to have a substantially adverse impact to our ancestral lands. Therefore, I strongly urge you to vote no on any development. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir.
John Rubright, Costa Mesa resident, father of 6 children, regional commissioner for AYSO 120. As of this month, everybody says that we don't need fields, and we have lots of fields here. And the lit fields that we have at this point for our group of kids is one field, Tewinkle School. So whatever you guys do, it's a lit field issue. We have a lot of fields, but nobody's ever come up with a viable alternative to what we're asking for now at Fairview. So just basically, I'd like to see some kind of compromise between natural and, as Jay Humphrey, developed park. Thank you.
I'm Patricia Martz, Professor Emerita of California State University, Los Angeles, and I'm a president of the California Cultural Resource Preservation Alliance. And I'd like to talk about the site ORA 506 that's located within the southeast quadrant. This site was once contiguous with ORA 58 to the southwest, and that site is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and ORA 506 is part of that village site and is equally significant. And these sites, there's evidence to suggest that they contain human remains, burials, and they are considered sacred by the Native Americans who feel called to protect the graves of their ancestors. And so both sites are not only important for this scientific information, but also because of their importance, the special and religious and cultural significance for California Native Americans. The new law, AB 52, requires that lead agencies must now evaluate, just as they do for other historical and archaeological resources under CEQA, a project's potential to impact a tribal cultural resource. Fairview Park itself, under the definitions of this law, meets the criteria as a traditional cultural landscape. The archaeological sites meet the criteria as a sacred site of cultural value to the Native Americans. Therefore, any ground disturbing activities have the potential to impact these values. And as it was mentioned previously, unlike scientific information, cultural and religious values cannot be mitigated through archaeological excavations. And if you don't see the importance of preserving the site ORA 506, perhaps the cost of mitigation might concern you. Archaeological data recovery excavations are labor-intensive and expensive. I don't know how much the shallow 1 by 1 meter unit that went down to about 50 centimeters or 2 or 3 feet, that cost. There were no artifacts or anything. But a deep cultural deposit with potential for human remains is going to cost maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars to do mitigation. This is because there are radiocarbon dates, there are obsidian hydration dates, there are archaeological artifacts to be analyzed, and also there's, if there are reburials, Those have to be done, and that requires ceremony and expense.
So time,
and-
3 minutes.
And curation costs. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here tonight. My name is Vicki Snell. I am with Newport Mesa Unified School District Board. I represent Costa Mesa, Trustee Area 1, and I am a resident, obviously, of Costa Mesa. I'm here tonight to deliver a letter from the Board of Education regarding your agenda item tonight on outdoor field and play spaces. This letter is in no way presumes to recommend a decision on how Fairview Park should be used. That is for you and the City Council to decide on the needs of the community based on all your research, expert reports, and input from Costa Mesa residents. This letter's only purpose is to shed light on the continuing issue of the lack of athletic fields for our children participating in after-school sports. The Board of Education has made as many elementary school fields available as possible to the city for after-school and weekend use. However, doing so has caused excessive wear and tear on the school fields that are for the primary use of our students in support of our school programs. This has also caused the district to take on additional costs to support this overuse, as well as impacting some of our neighborhoods with lighting. We value and appreciate the partnership with Costa Mesa, and we genuinely aspire to find solutions that benefit the residents we serve. We encourage you to develop a long-term solution for more sports fields that does not impact our schools and our neighborhoods. Thank you. And who do I give this to? This is signed.
Chairman, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Ramos?
I'd like to request that Ms. Snell come back to the podium and read the letter that the district sent to us and have it on record, please. I don't think she just read it. She didn't read it. She didn't read it. I don't believe she read it. I
think she was trying to make an explanation.
I'd like to have the.
I was, because I only got 3 minutes, and so I thought if I read the
Could we ask
letter.
her?
Is it that long a letter?
Well, it's 3 minutes. I timed it.
Could we ask her to please read it and have it on the record?
Sure.
Fine.
Thank you.
Glad
Thank
to.
you. Good idea.
Dear Fairview Park Citizens Advisory Committee, it is the mission of the Fairview Park Citizens Advisory Committee to evaluate the Fairview Park Master Plan relative to community needs and make master plan update recommendations to the Parks and Recreation Commission and the City Council for the addition, reduction, elimination, or modification of park uses and master planned elements. The Newport Mesa Unified School District encourages the Fairview Park Citizens Advisory Committee to review the community's current needs relative to the master plan and make recommendations to the City Council consistent with meeting the needs and obligations to its citizens. Per the Advisory Committee's January 7th agenda, discussions are planned for 6 areas of outdoor field and play spaces. The district is encouraged by the discussions and hopes the committee will evaluate and recommend solutions to addressing the lack of field and play space for its residents. Currently, the field and play spaces at the schools serve as the City of Costa Mesa's primary source for field and play spaces for its residents. The Board of Education has long made as many school fields as possible available to the City of Costa Mesa for after-school and weekend use. Doing so, however, causes excessive wear and tear on school fields. The challenges of providing fields to meet increased demand has led the city to rely even more heavily on school district fields, even to the extent of lighting some of the fields for winter use. The mission of the Newport Mesa Unified School District, in partnership with Costa Mesa, Newport Beach Communities, is to graduate students who have acquired knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary to achieve significant career, educational, civic, and personal goals which will enrich our society. As you can see from our mission statement, we value and appreciate the partnership with the cities we serve. Our main mission, however, is to educate students and focus our financial resources directly into the classrooms and facilities towards supporting the school's co-curricular programs. The inevitable result of this current situation is that the district has taken on additional costs to support the over-reliance on school fields, and they are being degraded for their primary use, that of supporting the educational program of the community schools. We hope these points will provide light on the topic as you address the challenges of what everyone recognizes to be a pressing need in the Costa Mesa community. We urge the committee to develop a long-term solution for more sports fields in Costa Mesa that doesn't rely solely on using school district property. We genuinely aspire to find solutions that will benefit the residents of the cities we serve while keeping consistent to our main mission.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
I want to thank Mrs. Snell for showing up tonight. This is a rare, possibly the only appearance by a school board member that I can recall, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, good evening. My name is Mike Chun, a Senior Vice President of WATG, an architectural and planning firm. I've also been a resident of Costa Mesa for the past 35 years. My understanding is that there's a need for facilities such as this urban sports complex in Costa Mesa, or surrounding areas such as Newport Beach, Fountain Valley, and Huntington Beach. There's also a need for open space, environmentally sustainable green areas which continue to disappear on a regional and global scale. The movement to save and reconstruct wetlands and green spaces are gaining traction on regional, state, and federal levels. For future generations, Costa Mesa should not reverse this trend in this city. It would be my recommendation.
Please, folks, no clapping because it just takes longer and we've got this many people that want to speak tonight. So don't take from their time, please.
It would be my recommendation to locate an urban, non-environmentally sensitive area for this urban sports complex and retain Fairview Park as originally planned. This would be a win-win situation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kim Hendricks, and I have a few comments and questions. First, I remind the committee that residents have repeatedly stated during these meetings, as well as in the Fairview Park Master Plan, that they don't want sport fields in Fairview Park. I refer you to page 10 and 37. And in fact, they want an increasingly passive used park. I also remind the committee that the city of Costa Mesa purchased Fairview Park, quote unquote, in order to ensure a lower level of development. Page 10, Fairview Park Master Plan. More importantly, there is no need for sport fields. Although Mr. Eccles has repeatedly said that there is, he has never been able to come up with any data to support his claim. And in fact, there is evidence that supports the contrary, namely the February 27th, 2014 Parks and Rec meeting when Mr. De Ericol asked Christian Hernandez how many youth sport groups were turned away this year. His response was none, not even when the city council majority allowed a for-profit Matt Liner team to take over a field and kick off the nonprofit users. There are many fields that do not have lights on them. You should not even be using Fairview Park and sport fields in the same sentence. And Fairview Development Center will become available in the next year, even if we needed them, but we don't. So, with the myth of sport fields dead, let me ask the committee if they know who prepared their agenda to consider. Is it not true that you were given items to consider that are in direct opposition to what residents have said they want over and over again? If you tell me staff gave it to you, then who is staff? Isn't it true that certain city council members have directed you, Mr. Munoz, of what they would like the committee to consider? Why is it when the majority of residents have said over and over again in person and through emails what they want that the committee continues to consider their own terms? Is not the committee supposed to hear and consider what the residents want and not some city council members' wishes or outside interests? The residents have stated over and over again, my mic's not working as well, that they want Fairview Park to not only be left as a passive natural park, but want it to be restored like the city agreed to do 16 years ago, but still have not done. But let's leave the ugliness of politics and actually look at Fairview Park and its value. It is a value to the whole community, not only because of its accessibility for everyone to enjoy, but also because of the rare natural resources it has, more than one of which are endangered. Fairview Park is one of the largest freshwater wetland areas in the country, and I'm going to refer you to page 99 and 100 about vernal pools, which are an extreme... Can you turn my mic back on?
It's on. You just got to stay in front of it, Kim.
I'm staying in front of it, okay.
You're moving.
So, let me tell you, as described in the setting, vernal pools are quite rare in Southern California due to the unique geological conditions that must be present to form them. And intensive human development of coastal areas have caused them to be destroyed. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has estimated that vernal pool habitat in Southern California has been reduced by over 90%, 97%, and this is in 1993. So it's over 99%, less than 1% now. Check your statistics. There is data out there to be checked, okay? In Orange County, Fairview Park's vernal pools represent the only known extant example of this ecosystem.
Kim, could you wrap it up,
Yes,
please?
I have a lot more. I'll be up again. Due to these factors, many plants and animals that occur exclusively, this is in the world, you guys, or largely in vernal pools are considered biologically sensitive by state and federal resource agencies. Don't forget the agreements, don't forget what's there. Also, I'm a teacher, and I have a great relationship with the kids, and they don't want sport fields. They say, trample the fields, don't trample Fairview Park.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Larry Amer. I've been a resident of Costa Mesa for 35 years, and I use the park, Fairview Park, regularly. And I would agree with the archaeologists and what have you that say there's a lot of relics from the past over there. So paving that over removes that from ever being studied by anybody. The other comment I have to make is paving that over and building things there removes that land from use by all the people that use it daily. And there's a large crowd of people using the park every day. So if you're going to build things on it, you're going to remove it from use by those people and most likely put a fence around it and a lock gate on it so they can't use it. I don't think that's a very good idea. And I made a suggestion at one of these meetings once before. The Costa Mesa Golf Course has pieces of land there that are not usable and they're not being used. You can put soccer fields there on that land. Most of the schools around here, Adams School, Wilson School, Estancia, Costa Mesa High School, they have land that can be used and is used frequently for soccer fields. Balearic Center, why not just continue to use that? Some of that land has lights on it, so you don't need to construct anything. You don't need to spend our tax money on things that I think most of the people in the neighborhood do not want. Thank you.
All right, folks, I got still a giant stack here, and if everybody's going to get to have their say, we're going to limit the time to 2 minutes. I plan to get to the main part of the meeting by 7 o'clock. So let's cooperate here. And if you don't have a whole lot to say, get it over with quick. I'm serious. We've got other business to do tonight besides this. Next one, Royer, Gay Royer.
Hello, I'll be under 2 minutes.
Thank you.
I just want to say not everybody plays sports. I didn't play sports. And over 60 years ago, that was my playground. That's been my child's playground. That's my grandson's playground. Not everybody plays a sport. Some of us like to go out in nature and enjoy. I ask you, please, as over 60 years ago, that was my playground, please keep it for our future children, my great-grandchildren and the great-great-great. It's a beautiful, wonderful place. I drove by there today. The hills are green. I wish you didn't mow it down every time you got a chance because there was a lot of, when I was young, that place was wild. Please, please keep it the way it is. Not everybody is into sports. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. You're a glowing example of what I would like to have. Margaret Mooney.
Margaret Mooney, Costa Mesa resident. And I am adamantly opposed to sports fields in Fairview Park, and I have said that before. I have spoken with the gentleman from AYSO, and as he says, it's a matter of lighted fields. I implore City Council. We have had Councilman Mensinger, Councilman Guinness, and now Councilman Righeimer sitting on this committee. I implore the city to put their money into lighting for fields. Not the temporary ones, the permanent ones like we have at the farm, that the neighbors are happy with. It costs money, yes it does, but that's money well spent. People will have places to play sports, to play soccer, and we will still keep Fairview Park natural, the way it's designed to be. The reason that the city acquired it is to be an anchor for the green belt in the city. And I would like to see the city move to buy permanent lighting and put their money into that and some of the empty spaces, rather than putting a 3-story tenement there, put lighted fields.
Thank you, Mr. Pope. Thank you.
I'm Steve Pope. I'll keep this short. I'm a father of 4 Costa Mesa residents. You've heard my views over the last year and a half. I strongly oppose any development at Fairview Park. The one new bit I'd perhaps like to add is, the elections at the fall of last year, I think they sent quite a clear message that Costa Mesa residents are tired of the divisive politics that's kind of driven through this city. And I think everybody in this room is tired of an agenda which is going against the wishes of the overall majority of people inside of Costa Mesa, and certainly the people inside of this room. So I would say think very, very carefully before continuing to pursue such a divisive agenda, wasting my time, wasting taxpayers' money, and causing more and more people to become upset and to continue to fight, because everybody in this room is not going away anytime soon.
Thank you. Tim Cromwell.
Boy, I hope I get an I love you too. I'm Tim Cromwell. You might remember me about 15 years ago. I started a grassroots neighborhood group that saved Fairview Park from becoming an Irvine-type park. We stopped the concrete roads that were coming in. We kept the hiking trails natural. Unlike the previous lady a few people ago, I am really into sports. I've been coaching baseball, football for 20 years. I've got a son playing college baseball, 2 sons playing high school baseball. I do not think this is a place for a sports facility. It is a horrible location for a sports facility. I think you should work with a school district and put lighted fields anywhere you possibly can and put money into that. I think, and I'm sorry if this has been talked about, but the answer is obvious. Expand Costa Mesa Country Club, put golf holes there, the topography is fine for it, and take the golf holes that you eliminated, and there's your next sports field. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Philip Chipman.
Hi, I'm out of turn. Bob Isaacson is my name. I live on up by Tanager Park, and I'd like to say I'm concerned about the noise and the traffic. We can actually hear the football games when they're played at Estancia School, so there's some major issues there. So thank you very much. Noise and traffic.
Okay, I've been a resident here for 33 years, wonderful city, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. I did a little research on parks. First of all, I was at the September meeting, and there was like I counted 47 speakers, and out of the 47, 6 were for this sports complex. The majority were for leaving it the way it was naturally. And I think that the same thing is going to be true tonight. I was going to ask for a vote, but you're probably not going to like that.
Out of order. That would be out of order, thank you.
That would be out of order, that's fine. I read up on coastal development in the state of California. Over 90% of the coastline is developed. Right now, there's a big push, or it has been for a number of years, to restore the developed, to bring it back to the natural state. We have a chance to leave a little bit, and believe me, in this area, it's the little bit left in a natural state. It's very unique. On the master plan, that's already been spoken about. We agreed to leave it that way. I think we should stick with our agreement. The recommended park size for any city is approximately 1 acre per 100 people. That works 110,000 people. That works out about 1,100 acres for a park of this city of this size. We have currently 574 acres. I went through every park size, and some of them have fenced off diamonds and stuff. So I didn't eliminate those. I included those. So we're actually at half of what this city and this population needs. Also, they recommend a 12.
So 2 minutes, sir,
Time? One more, just a couple more things?
Wrap it up real quick, please.
Drought is a very, very important. We're in the riskiest area of the United States. That's according to Sperling's. The field's going to require upwards of 50,000 gallons a day, okay? And the other thing is that I have not seen an environmental impact statement, so I don't know what's going to happen to all the runoff. It's right at the top, and it runs, all the water runs right down to Santa Ana River.
Thank you.
Thank you. Flo Martin, Costa Mesa resident since 1967. I like to follow the money. In 2002, I was one of the Orange County voters who voted for a nature preserve, a central park, and a multi-use development at El Toro Marine Base, now known as the Great Park. Well, guess what? That park was sold for over $660 million to Lennar Corporation. And now 5 Points Communities plans 4,600 dwellings. Orange County Fairground, 2010, was sold to Fair Facilities Management West. That brown stuff hit the fan, and that deal went through. That same developer has been involved with the Colleen Island development in Eastside Costa Mesa. Tewinkle Park, 2012, a city task force voted 8-1 to privatize that park and sell it to a Chino-based developer. Well, the brown stuff hit the fan, and that deal fell through. Again, with the Matt Leinart deal, privatizing Tewinkle sports fields, the brown stuff hit the fan with the voters, that deal fell through. Finally, Fairview Developmental Center. There is an affordable housing master plan that was developed in 2013. 5 buildings, 242 units ranging from studio to 3-bedroom. Any sports complex that would be put in the southeast quadrant, I guarantee will end up in private developer hands. Which developer? KDF Communities, an LLC based in Newport Beach that has been involved with donating to campaigns right here in Costa Mesa.
That's 2 minutes, ma'am.
I vote no.
A while ago, the Fairview Park Citizens Advisory Committee went to Riverside for a look at Hunter Hobby Park, where they have a lot of the things that we have here, but they have not much open space. If you had gone 1.5 miles southwest, you would have seen the Riverside Sports Complex. It was developed with the University of California at Riverside, but they have a marvelous sports complex there. My recommendation to the advisory committee is that you look for a sports complex for this city away from Fairview Park, because we need Fairview Park and the people here want that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm a little confused. I'll be very quick, but I am a little confused because I thought we had talked about all of this already, the sports fields, and I thought that the public had made it very clear that they did not want sport fields at Fairview Park, that we wanted it to remain a passive park. And the city's been entrusted with this jewel to take care of it and to be good stewards of it. And I don't see how putting sports fields up there is being good stewards. And somebody said it earlier, we want to protect this for the future. We've all had incredible experiences at Fairview Park, whether it was having somebody take us on a nature walk and see all the birds that are there and point out the birds to us, or riding our bikes through there. Whatever our experiences are there, they're fantastic, and there's no place else like it in this area. So please, please, please listen to the people that are telling you to leave it passive. It's your job to take good care of it for the future.
Thank you, Cindy.
Sheila Pathland, resident of Costa Mesa. First, I want to say I support the views that this park should be left as it is, maintained as a passive space, and should not have sport facilities or other things put on it. Now, I am also reminded about the history of Central Park in New York. That is a park which we have today because the many worthy projects which were suggested in it were resisted by the city. If they had all been put there, there would be no Central Park today. And the same fate seems to be looming over Fairview Park in Costa Mesa. I appreciate the fact that some members of the City Council really want those sports spaces and are not prepared to give up without a fight. And I realize that you have been appointed by the City Council. However, I think you are all sufficiently fair-minded citizens that you can be independent in your decisions and save this park for the citizens of Costa Mesa as the residents of New York did for Central Park. Thank you.
My name's Lorraine Keene, and I'm here on one issue, the letter that came from the school district today. It was released online, and I had an opportunity to read it before coming here tonight. So I gave Martha Fleur a call, and I spoke to her rather in length. And I think it's important that I kind of clarify some of the issues that she helped me understand regarding that letter. She was under the impression that this group tonight was meeting on discussing a sports complex throughout the entire city of Costa Mesa, not just in this park. She mentioned to me that Tewinkle Park, there's a park on the west side, something about a Jack Hammett field that the school district had given land to the city. All of those she's hoping will be considered for the immediate issue of where to put a sports complex. She also indicated to me that one of the reasons that she signed this letter was that the school district is not being cooperatively notified of things that are going on the fields in the school district. She indicated that lights have been put on without permission from the school district. She also indicated that she's tried to set up meetings with the liaison committee, and they've not been able to have those meetings. So my takeaway is that it's a headache for the school district, and they would love to have these sports fields put somewhere else. Well, I don't want that headache translated into Fairview Park. If the sports fields and the city cannot work with the school district to resolve some of these issues, that's a separate issue and shouldn't be commingled with the discussion here tonight. So I do want to make sure that this gets communicated because I spoke to her quite a while. The other thing I want to bring out is that Tim Cromwell here, who mentioned about the golf courses, he's someone very knowledgeable I know from my past.
That's 2 minutes, ma'am.
Okay, and
Sorry about that, Tim.
regarding the land use, there is a land use data chart that the city has. And it does say that golf courses in Costa Mesa take up 535 acres, and the parks and open space total have 593. We have golf courses that almost match the entire open space and park for the entire city. That is way out of balance.
Thank
so
you.
Tim Cromwell's suggestion about utilizing some golf course space, I believe needs and deserves some serious looking into. I have more to say, but...
Dan Huber.
Thank you. I'm here to protect you, Brett. This isn't just soccer, guys. I've lived in the city over 20 years. In that time, I've touched every Little League field when it comes to field maintenance. When there's not dollars for people like Walt Harper, I'm that guy. Doesn't matter if I have a kid playing on that field or not. And for some folks to come up here and represent that there's not a field shortage, I think you misinterpreted some information, because there was quite a few teams that were cut out of fields last year, and I'm not going to get into naming the teams. That data is available for you to research if you like. As far as Fairview Park goes, I find it interesting. We have a lot of people speaking to the point of Fairview Park. I do 65 miles a week there. Don't see a lot of you there. But with that in mind,
Please. Hear him out.
Wow, you know, when you were making your point, I was quiet, but thank you very much.
Please respect him. He's got 2 minutes, please.
That being said, I think there's some misinterpretation of where this is going to go. It's not overtaking the whole park. It's a small corner. The part that 90% of the people use is over on the Estancia side. This is across the street from that. Okay. The adjustments, yeah, everybody wants it to remain natural. There's a bridge that was built there. There's a fake pond that's over there. There's restrooms. There's a train. There's handrails. There's stairs. There's fencing. There's a landing strip for everybody with their remote control airplane. So when people say they want it to remain in their natural habitat, it seems a little contradictory. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Perry.
Jack Perry, longtime resident here. We lived in here since the early 50s, and I've seen it all come and go. I remember when Estancia High School wasn't there. I remember when the golf course wasn't there. It was a big park back then, but we needed the golf course. Then we needed the high school. And I remember in '68, they put the road through from Estancia High School all the way up to Adams. And we've cut that park up considerably. When they did that, I always considered one side to be non-usable land and the other side to be a park. I know a lot of the citizens that aren't here tonight are kids, and they're part of this city as well. And I know that there is a lack of facilities here in the city because I grew up not having them. So my vote is for let's move forward and see what we can do, see what we can put there. But do it nicely and do it smartly. Thank you.
Thank you. Harold Whitesburg.
Harold Whitesburg, 30-year resident of Costa Mesa. First of all, I want to thank this committee. We started this many months ago. Everybody was afraid you would approve park sports fields all over the park. And the fact is you haven't. You haven't approved any sports fields. And now it's time to bring this all home. There should not be any sports fields in Fairview Park. We have a different problem, which is we need sports fields. Fairview Park is not the solution to that problem. Just because you have a hammer doesn't mean everything's a nail, okay? And that's what's key here. I think that whatever anybody's preconceived notions about what should happen, I think a lot of those opinions have changed. And I would be hopeful, based on the previous votes that all of you have made, that will continue to not change Fairview Park from a natural environment. I think what's also great is a suggestion that was made a number of months ago, Byron, remember when you said, oh, that's terrible, the city would never approve that and the people will kill you, is coming back to have fruition. And we don't need 2 18-hole golf courses. We could take 1 18-hole golf course, turn it into a 9-hole executive course, and put in a whole bunch of lighted fields there that will not impact anybody. So if we're going to level stuff, if we're going to light stuff, if we're going to make fields for our kids, let's have all the duffers find another place to play golf, and let's take care of our kids on the Costa Mesa golf course. Thank you very much.
Larry Corder.
Good evening. I also appreciate the energy and time you guys have spent. I was on Original Redevelopment Agency. I took so much, you know what, at that time I could appreciate what you take, so thank you. I have a PowerPoint that we'll keep it short. It focuses mainly on land use, and I agree with most people here tonight that Fairview Park should be used for the pristine passive area it is, and you need to work on something that would allow you to put a sports field someplace and organize it from scratch. Basically, this is Hunter Industrial Area. Hunter Park is in the center. It is completely 100% surrounded by industrial land, not disturbing anybody with any traffic, lights, parking, etc. Closer look, 2 baseball diamonds, a very, very nice train area, fantastic. I know you folks were out there. I went out there a couple weeks after you did and spent about 3 hours there. Closer look. This is their original plan for sports field. The soccer field didn't get built. This is Fairview Park. We have an area we want to save. We have an area that's a very small section of that park that people want to try and change. From a standpoint of change, I decided what would happen if you put a baseball diamond and a soccer field in that small area. This next slide is not very technically astute, but I planted them in there. This is no parking, no trails, no room for trains. This shows 2 fields. It won't fit. Find some place like Hunter did. If you have even a redevelopment agency to say, here's a sports area in an area where it belongs, serve the community, do it right, and leave Fairview Park the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Andy Campbell, and I'm a planning manager, water resources projects. I appreciate your time. I've been behind the same table, and it's good to have you hear the public's opinion. I'm a sporting fan too. My kids played AYSO when John was the district manager, or regional manager. My kids played Little League. I'm opposed to the park being developed as sports fields as well. In support of Dan Huber, we have volunteers who repair the fields, or at least the baseball fields. My kids go to Tewinkle Middle School. They play basketball. They're not putting any wear and tear on that asphalt other than a few drops of sweat. I'm a water resources planner. I got something from Mesa the other day, and it's part of my job as well, is Metropolitan Water District's turf rebate program. So they offer $2 a square foot to remove turf. That's over $80,000 an acre to replace turf. So if we're going to be putting water, there was another speaker who talked about how much water we'd be putting on this. We're in a drought. The drought's not going away. There's projections that with global climate change that this drought is here to stay. So if we're going to be adding more turf when Metropolitan Water District is paying people to take out their front lawns, I think that's kind of counterproductive on our part. John Rubright talked about the need for lighting. I support the need of lighting. He failed to mention the farm field. There's 5 lit fields there as well. So I support lighting on other fields, just not Fairview Park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cindy Black.
Longtime Costa Mesa resident. I've been here so long that I remember when Tewinkle was just a hill. Now it's got a lot of baseball diamonds on it. And the farm complex, I remember when it was actually a farm. And now there's a bunch of fields over there. And just recently, the city of Newport Beach created Sunset Ridge Park with lots of fields. So why can't the people that need to use fields go there? I also wanted to remind people that the Newport Mesa Unified School District letter did not preclude the use of their fields. We cannot recreate a Fairview Park. How many sports fields are enough sports fields? How many Fairview Parks are there? There's just one. And we cannot recreate it. Fairview Park has a rich history and everything that's associated with it. And I want it to remain there for children in the future, for my grandkids, Jaden and Jasmine. Thank you.
Evelyn Reese, and I moved to California in 1961, before Estancia was there, before Placentia Road was down the hill. One of my concerns, well, first of all the schools, there's 32 schools in Newport Mesa. Some of them are closed, but they still have fields that you can use. All you have to do is go to the office manager, fill out a use of facilities request. It's sent in and they have never turned anybody down that I know of. I was the office manager at Tewinkle for 31 years. And I don't know why they keep saying they don't have places to go. There's so many fields out there to be used. Just just fill out your use of facilities and you'll be okay. And the other thing, my big concern is the road down the hill. It's banked wrong. There have been so many children killed on that road. My daughter, who is now working at Newport Harbor High School, went through Estancia, the whole thing. She and a girlfriend were going out to lunch one day, and when she was going to Estancia and going down the hill, the car started going 360s down the road. No control of stopping it. I went to pick up my one daughter one night, dropped her off at school. I was on my way home. And as I was going down the hill, there was a little yellow bug coming right, it was right in front of me. And there was a car coming up the hill doing 360s. You have no place to go. You don't know whether to go left, right, nothing, because they're coming so fast. You can't control it. You can't control your car. I stopped, hoping that I wouldn't be hit, and I knew I would be if the little Volkswagen in front of me didn't get hit first. The car coming up the hill hit him, totaled his car, and he got out. He was hurt, but he wasn't killed. So there's so many people that aren't aware of how many students have been killed on that road. Every pole coming up that hill has been knocked down.
For your information, they're planning to put in a center median, which should help relieve that problem to a great extent.
A lot of children have lost their lives because of that road.
I understand.
And if they're going to build more, if you're going to have to
ma'am.
have a lot more people going up there, you're going to have more children in danger.
Thank you. James Peterson.
James Peterson. I first moved to Costa Mesa in 1964. I sent an email. I just want to restate that I oppose any changes to Fairview Park.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your brevity.
Felipe, this was the next one. I'm sorry.
Felipe Vascope, professor at John Dark Center College of Design, creative director, ad hoc advertising. I lived in Costa Mesa for about 17 years, but I was born and raised in Orange. At that time, when I was young, Orange County and City of Orange was orange fields as far as the eye can see. And now there are 5 orange groves, less than 4 acres each. And that's what this is going to turn into. We don't need that. You've heard the community. There's other ways of facilitating this. We don't want to turn into a Huntington Beach, all cement. We don't want to be an annex of South Coast Plaza. We want to keep it good for the people. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
I don't think anyone in this room disagrees with the idea that one of the basic responsibilities of local government is to provide for the recreational needs of our citizens. And I really think it's cool to see trains running around the outside of softball fields. However, my underlying concern is that these ball fields are being proposed out of pride rather than out of the need for ball fields, additional ball fields. I believe that there are probably ample public parks with ball fields in Costa Mesa between the city parks and Newport Mesa parks. And if our existing public parks are not meeting that need, it's because of the maintenance, the management, and the lighting of those parks. In my view, the taxpayers of Costa Mesa own all the sports parks in Costa Mesa, whether they're managed by the city or the school district. Both those organizations are funded by our taxpayers, and both exist to serve the public. Taxpayers have a right to insist that our elected officials work cooperatively together to make the necessary maintenance, management, and lighting improvements to meet the needs of our kids. To me, it would be the height of irresponsible government and wasteful spending to spend millions of dollars on first the litigation and then the expense of grading and the improvements of that area of Fairview Park instead of spending a smaller amount of money on the necessary upgrades to existing fields. Finally, for 26 years, I lived seven houses from Luke Davis ball field in Lions Park. And yes, our neighborhood was periodically illuminated by the lights in Lions Park. And I can assure you that it's no big deal. I moved out of that neighborhood, and now I enjoy the sounds of football, and I see the lights from Scott Field in Estancia, and I certainly enjoy the sounds of those sports games. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mooney, Costa Mesa resident. I oppose putting sports fields at Fairview Park, but I would love to participate in solving the problem of the lighting for the fields. So if anyone needs some help, I'll be glad to participate.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
My name is Rachel Godwin. I'm a resident of Costa Mesa. That better?
That's better.
I'm a resident of Costa Mesa, and the southeast quadrant is my favorite place to exercise. It's quiet, it has wildlife, it's very natural and peaceful. So I would strongly oppose adding any development in that section, not least because it would decrease the enjoyment of that area to use as an exercise, running, biking area, but because of the increase in parking, busyness, it just would not be a good compromise in the slightest. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Terry Welch.
Hi, my name is Terry Welsh, and I'm president of the Banning Ranch Conservancy, the group that's trying to save all of Banning Ranch. I'm also a resident of Mesa Verde and the father of a high school athlete. And I oppose the sports fields. I wanted to tell you that, after 16 years at Banning Ranch, we're still not there yet. And that's 16 years of hard work. It's going to be a few more years before we finally save all Banning Ranch. And our success is not guaranteed. But I tell you this because I know how hard it is to bring natural open space into public ownership. And you have it at Fairview already, and you need to save it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Ken Stewie.
Lynn
No,
Redmond.
I don't see Ken. Ken
Redmond.
didn't come up? Okay, go ahead. Your name?
Lynn Redmond.
Okay.
I'm speaking for my son Christian, who's been here before, and Mr. Chairman, you're well aware of his native shrub project at Fairview. Any of you that have been there and seen the orange construction fencing, that's his project that started back in March. He has finished all his obligations to receive both the Eagle and the 4-H Emerald Star for planting 900 native shrubs there. And if you've seen over the fence what's going on, you'll see on the south end where his little Eagle Scout sign is, we've weeded and left the native shrubs like they should be. But you'll see just a little further up where the mustard hasn't been chopped. And it's a sea of mustard from there all the way to the north end. Now his project is finished. He has no more obligations to do anything. Now we've been weeding just out of necessity, but we need volunteers to help. And we've also funded this out of our own credit card. And we have very few donations received so far. We're about $3,000 in the hole in our own credit card. So we need volunteers to chop mustard, and we'll like also to get some of our credit card debt relief. But our phone number, 949-548-8514. You'll get a message, but we'll return all the calls and tell you how to help and how to donate.
No
Thank you.
website?
What's that?
I'm kidding.
Thank you very much.
Give that number one more time.
949-548-8514.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for all the time you put in out there. I know how difficult it is.
You're welcome.
May I have just a moment to start passing this around? These pictures that I'm passing around are 3 generations of Lefflers on the model trains at Fairview Park. We had fun. My kids went there, my grandkids have been there, and here we all are together. On the particular weekend that we were there, 5,000 people rode the trains. That's 5,000 people, not just, and that was just one weekend. So that place gets a lot of use. And one thing that I love about Fairview Park, love about that particular ride, is I can look out over California grasslands, and it's kind of like, this state used to be. You don't see houses, you don't see fences, you don't even see the golf course from most angles. you see golden fields for most of the year, and during this short little springtime, it's a miracle of things turning green. It's beautiful. It's restful. It's something that we really, really need to preserve. I may not finish the rest of what I have, but I'll present it at the first agenda item if I don't get much of a start on it. I took a look at the acreage of sports fields and the acreage of Fairview Park. I'm not sure what the acreage is of this section, so when I sit down, if somebody could answer that, I'd really appreciate it. An acre is 43,560 square feet. An adult soccer field is about 54,000 square feet, and that doesn't include the sidelines. That's just within the perimeter of the field itself. No place for spectators, no place for the corner kicks. Adult baseball, I couldn't really figure that out. It's the infields are pretty standard. It's 3,600 for infield youth and 8,100 for adult, because adult is 90 feet
Robin, that's 2 minutes.
aside.
Yeah, can you wrap
Okay,
it up? Maybe you got just one last statement you want to make?
I will, and I'll finish it when I get back to this. But I think that we should take a hard look at how many acres are given over to fields and the people that love them, because I'm a soccer mom and grandmom, and people who love a nature park just the way it is, and how many acres are there. Thank you.
Debbie Koken?
Yes, I don't want to repeat what so many people have already said. I also have photographs of my family on the trains, and I volunteered on Christian Redmond's project, and I love to see the hawks flying over the southeast quadrant, as I often do. I just wanted to add my voice to say that Fairview should remain a natural open space park.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir, your name?
Terry Koken,
Terry,
Costa Mesa.
okay.
Athletic fields have consumed a huge portion of this committee's meeting time, and I've spoken to this item before, but I think it's worthy of further comment. As a kid, I lived next to Eisner Park in Champaign, Illinois. The park had a hedge around it as part of its perimeter, and a little league field at the end of Park Street where I lived. We'd go there summer evenings to watch the games between 6 or so little league teams. There was always an announcer there to give us a play-by-play on the happenings in the games, and every time the catcher would walk out to consult with the pitcher, the announcer would say, "Little strategy on the mound." Got so we felt cheated if he didn't say it. When there were no games in progress, the field was open and available, and we could go there and throw a ball around or practice batting or walk up to the hedge and add nitrogen to the soil if internal pressures were too great. It was a good facility. I see Luke C. Davis Field outside this building every time I walk over here. Unlike our Little League field, Davis has bright lights for night games. Unlike our Little League field, Davis has an 8-foot cyclone fence around it with locked gates. Unlike our Little League field, Davis is locked away from kids who want to just throw a ball around or do some batting practice, impromptu. Play there is regimented, restricted, and ordered. When I asked this committee why, Mr. Eccles replied that we didn't want drug paraphernalia to be found on the field. Seems to me that this is a red herring. If we don't want drug paraphernalia, we should clean it up and police the field. Gentles, it ain't right to lock kids out of a park. So let's get it clear on one little matter here. The athletic fields controversy is not about making facilities available, but about sequestering land which should be available for public use and taking it out of circulation. Lights, yes. Game of catch, no.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Your name, please.
My name is James Della O. I'm a kid here. And and I play baseball, but I'm not going to talk about that. So, what I'm concerned about, if you put the field there, is the train. Is the train. And when I drive by there sometimes, I see kids on that train, a lot of kids riding on that train. And when I go to Estancia football game, I look at the field and I see people riding on the train. And the kid, that's a great place. Fairview Park is a great place to play. And I played there sometimes. I go there with my grandma. And yeah, so I think it's almost 2 minutes. So that's all.
Thank you very much. We're finished with the public comment. Now, realize as we go through these items, there will be time for public comment. I hope it will be very brief because basically these are yes or no's, really. And I appreciate you're all cooperating, and I know everybody wanted to speak, and I tried the best I can, but now I got to get down to the meeting. So we have approval of the minutes for meeting of December 3rd, 2014. I'll entertain a motion in that favor.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All right, those in favor signify by raising your hand. Are there any opposed? No. Okay.
Motion passes. Unanimous.
All right. Next, we're going to old business. And Mr. Mejia has a staff presentation, PowerPoint on the various facilities. And I don't know just what all it has, but I'll observe.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to start by doing a short recap of what we have approved so far. But before I do that, I'm going to go to the back of the room and turn half the lights off. As we have been meeting for quite a few meetings and discussed 3 of the quadrants and a portion of the southeast quadrant. I'm just going to flip the top. The committee so far has approved a number of items that are recommended to be considered by the Parks and Rec Commission. And there's 5 items. The first item is an informational kiosk in the northwest quadrant. An item to improve bike path for the southwest quadrant. An additional picnic structure in the developed area of the park, close to the parking lot. Improved information kiosk. This is the existing kiosk that is by the parking lot, also for the southwest quadrant. And we hope that by the time this gets to the Parks Commission, that this item will have been taken care of. We've been working with our maintenance department to replace those panels and put the more current graphics of the master plan and the other information in that place. So that should be done in the next couple of months. And also, the last meeting, this committee recommended that a native plants nursery be considered for the southeast quadrant. So that's what we have so far. Those are the items that have been recommended, that are being recommended to the Parks Commission. Now we are back to the southeast quadrant, and this is again a recap. These are the boundaries of this quadrant: Placentia Avenue to the west, Fairview Channel to the north and the east, golf course down at the south end. The Fairview Park Master Plan includes a number of elements that have been considered, and I'm not going to go over every one of them because we have talked about these before. But these are elements already in the master plan. This includes parking for 131 cars, a place for a multi-purpose building that can be used as a museum as well and display what we have or what is significant to not only Fairview Park but the city of Costa Mesa. A place for additional restrooms, a play area near the Orange County Model Engineers site or the Model Engineers site. And you have seen concepts of the proposed medians for Placentia Avenue, as well as an archaeological site. We've heard from the public today that this archaeological site extends through this quadrant. So that is one of the resources that we have for this quadrant. So the constraints that we see now, again, we have physical constraints. Placentia Avenue, Fairview Channel are physical constraints that we have. The topography of the site, as I explained a few months ago. The site is relatively flat for most of the area, except for the north end of this quadrant where we have the steeper slopes. We also have the operation of model trains throughout the area. This is what we currently have out there right now. This is the network of train tracks throughout this quadrant. We also have biological resources. We have 3 vernal pools, and this site also sometimes serves as the wintering area for the burrowing owl near the north side of the park. And again, another constraint is the archaeological site. Looking at the opportunities that we have too, there's an opportunity to provide linkages to various trails that we have. We have multi-purpose trails, pedestrian trails. For example, a connection from the south end at Estancia High School to go into the network of trails within this area, the main entrance to Fairview Park, the bridge, the other bridge across Fairview Channel, and the north area of the park. Parking is another item that has been discussed in the past. It's an opportunity that we have to provide parking for the various events that occur at Fairview Park. Children's play area is another opportunity where we can have children play there while they wait for train rides, and also to go and recreate there. The museum can display, as I mentioned before, artifacts and local history. Or the archaeological site is a great educational opportunity to teach our children and the residents about the archaeological resources that we have. So this group, for this quadrant, for this southeast quadrant, has now taken a look and considered 29 of the 35 items that were originally identified. And the items that remain are 6 items. Those items were, as you know, were tabled until further information was gathered. One of those fact-finding trips that were taken to Riverside provided information on how that particular site can coexist with 2 different uses, and that is the use of active recreational facilities with a train operation. The committee, with that information, can draw their own conclusions as to whether that is something that will be feasible for Fairview Park or not. These items and the items before you tonight, as with the previous items, is at the first stage of review. And that means that you're going to look at these items, all 6 items, and consider if these items are going to be then approved for further review by staff. So no approval of any of these items. The approval will be only to review this further and to come back with more detailed information if any of these items receive approval. So just wanted to clarify that that's the purpose of tonight's meeting and what we're asking you to vote on tonight. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it over to you to look at each one of these items. All right. The first item being baseball and softball fields.
Mr. Chairman. So again, so that you all understand that if we vote on these things, it's for staff to bring back a more detailed description of what the possibilities are. So it's not, nothing's put in concrete, okay?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just had a question. Bart, I think in your second or third slide, you had shown a list of things that are in the existing plan as states. I just want that clarified for everyone. There was 131 parking spots and different items. That's in the existing plan today, correct?
That is correct.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to see if we can combine all 6 of these into one action, as we've done before.
It's satisfactory.
Just call it sports facility and train track expansion.
You making a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do you have a second for
Mr.
that?
Chairman,
I don't know.
Yes.
may I ask Member Ambergy if he would consider amending his motion and combining the 1 through 3 and then 5 through 6 as a separate, just because I think one's dealing with fields, one's dealing with a hard surface. Would you consider that? So essentially, we would combine into 2 groups.
Actually, that is what Mr. Mejia had suggested to me, but I just thought it might confuse people and it might get somebody upset that I was trying to do something untoward. So he had suggested that as well, that would be a good way to handle it, which putting together the baseball, softball facilities, soccer, football fields, and multi-use athletic fields in one vote.
Plus 5 and 6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6.
Yeah. And then the track expansion is a separate one, and the basketball, handball courts, and roller hockey surface as a separate one because they're concrete surfaces. I don't know if you guys, you can.
If you could either.
Let's have some discussion on it.
I'm open to that. We'll amend it to that.
I would second that.
So just for clarification, it would be 1 through 3, 4 and 6, and then 5 separately?
No. I think 1
It's
through
1,
3,
2, and
5,
3, which is the baseball, softball facilities, soccer, football fields, and multi-use athletic fields. That's one vote. Second vote would be track expansion and improvements of the model engineers. And then the third one would be basketball, handball courts, and roller hockey surface together.
So 3 actions?
There's going to be 1, 2, 3 actions.
Instead of 6.
Instead of 6, you want to, but your motion was to put them all together in one fell swoop.
If I can get a second, I'd prefer that. I mean, we're going to review this again once they bring it back. So
Does he have a second for that or not? I'm sorry, I don't see it.
Okay.
It would be okay with me, I would say. But okay, so
well, you can second.
Now what we'll do is, would someone make a motion to the effect of having the 1, 2, 3 separate votes?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to combine items 1, 2, and 3 into one discussion and vote, and combine 5 and 6 into one discussion and vote, and then the final one, item number 4. So 3 separate discussions and votes.
Okay. Does he have a second for that?
A second.
Okay, let's call for the motion. Those in favor signify by raising your hand. Are there any opposed? No? Okay, looks like it passes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, the procedure will be then that, first of all, we'll start with the first group, which is baseball, softball facilities, soccer, football field, a multi-use athletic field, and there's an opportunity now for the committee to have discussion. So anybody want to discuss this, or you want to just proceed right on?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
just
Mr.
point
Nichols?
just of clarity. After public comment, and if this becomes a motion second, we will have an opportunity to discuss at that point, correct? Or no?
Well, the way it's set up is
able
for
to debate the
discussion
motion.
first, and
You will have the opportunity to debate the actual motion.
So if a motion's proposed, okay, thank you. Okay.
Correct.
all right, so now's the time for discussion of the item, if anybody wants to discuss it. Okay, I'm just going to tell you right now off the top of my head. With votes in favor of all these items, we would be doing a complete about-face to what the master plan calls for and would be in complete opposition to the agreement made with the county and state at the sale of the park. That agreement states that Fairview Park would remain open space in perpetuity. I will vote no on all these items because I feel they are inappropriate for Fairview Park. time for very brief public comments. If you have something really pointed, fine, but if not, I don't see that we need to get involved in, oh, yes, no, okay? I think we get a kind of a picture of what's going on out there. And so if there's something specific that you think should be addressed, please come forward to the mic right now.
Hello, Commission. My name is Jason Della-O. I'm Costa Mesa homeowner and business owner. I'm also a representative of Newport Mesa Girls Softball. It's the only all-girls league in Newport Mesa, and it's very significant because with Title IX, we are the main feeder league to all the local high schools. We are granted fields by the city of Costa Mesa. However, we have issues with the fact that we only are allowed fields or allocated fields up to 6 p.m. So from 3 to 6 p.m. is when we're able during the week to have fields. This causes a lot of issues with the fact that we cannot get ample amount of volunteers to come and help these girls. They're ages 5 to 14. I can tell you I've been on a field coaching girls, 11, 12 girls that are 5 years old. It's very, very difficult. With fields later, we can get more parents who, are working or have careers that can come out and help. So I'm definitely in support, along with representing 250 families with daughters in the community of more fields. Now, I don't have the answer on where or how, but I would be personally in support of fields at Fairview. Now, all of us have different hats. I have to put different hats on. So that's my softball hat as a representative with the daughter. I'm also a Native American. One thing I would really, and have studied the plight of the Native American, and one thing I know and have studied is the fact that they did not view borders or boundaries. The land was for everybody. I enjoy the outdoors. I'll take my kids in Orange County, 30 minutes away, to thousands of acres to enjoy the outdoors. So I don't feel like all outdoor use has to be right in your exact city. So I don't have an issue with being able to use. Can you show me some respect, please? Thank you. I don't have an issue with traveling to use outdoor nature. Also, I use Fairview Park quite a bit. I'm opposed to any development on the west side of Placentia. That's the portion I use, I see most people use. I don't see a lot of people using others. I would be in favor of a statue to represent Native American culture in the southeast quadrant with the trains, with some athletic fields. That's my personal opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Folks, 2 minutes, no more.
Less is okay, too.
Yeah, less is better.
My name is Lorraine Keene. I wasn't able to completely finish when I was up earlier, so I wanted to take the opportunity to point out that on this land use map, there are currently 87 acres of vacant land in Costa Mesa. I'm not sure exactly where that vacant land is, but 87 acres kind of sounds like a lot that we could use for some sports fields. And one of the gentlemen had said there weren't any viable alternatives. I think we've had a lot of representatives up here to discuss that there are some viable alternatives. I don't know if they're being looked at because there seems to be some single focus only on this park. And the other comment that I wanted to highlight is that I think what the county or the city is feeling is a result of not having park fees incorporated when development has been approved. And it's been a long debate with City Council and the Planning Commission. When these areas get developed, technically they're supposed to be putting in money, and that money goes to buy land so that we can have adequate parks and open space for the community around it. That's been sorely neglected. And we're here today having an argument and a debate over what to do with pristine land when the focus should be, why are we not managing what we're approving and doing the right thing by having these park fees and planning? It's a lack of planning. And that's really what the issue is and should be addressed, because it's not going to be solved by putting a sports field here. It'll just continue to elevate. So those were my other points that I didn't get a chance to make earlier.
Thank you very much. Now do I? Okay, Ms. Marks,
Patricia
go ahead.
Marks again, and I just wanted to clarify something. The athletic fields, the baseball facilities, soccer fields, and multi-use athletic fields are not going to just cover the archaeological site. They will grade, it will be required to grade the archaeological site, and it will cause considerable damage and destruction. Thank you.
Yes, we're aware of that. Thank you. Okay, I have Ann Parker's name here. Wants to talk on all the items, I guess.
Well, I have one word. I'll try to be fast. Nutrients. I haven't heard anybody talking about it. I wondered if there's been any kind of study, whether you know if you put in a golf course, a beautiful soccer field. These require a completely different kind of upkeep than the environment that is there now. And you know that the water, it's going to be watered, and the runoff is going to go in the totally natural part. And I just wondered if someone has done a study on this. Does anybody know? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Done.
The fertilizers, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
Okay, no, has there been a study?
No.
Well, why not?
We're just not at that point yet.
We're not there.
Well, could we please have one?
It depends on how we vote.
For anything to do with
maybe a moot
grass,
point.
because it's going to run right into the natural environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now, how many more people do I have back there that want to speak? Is there 3? Okay, that's it. Those are the 3 that are going to speak. No more. I'm not taking any more.
We gotta have John. Come on. He represents the whole league.
Quickly, please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Lisa Manfredi. This is my daughter, Marley.
Could you clarify your name, ma'am?
Lisa Manfredi, sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
And my daughter, Marley. We've lived near Fairview Park for 13 years. We live behind Estancia Stadium. We get the benefit of the lights and the sounds and everything that comes from the stadium. We've enjoyed Fairview Park in its natural state for as long as we've lived there, and that's why we moved to the west side of Costa Mesa. My daughter participates in youth sports. My son does too. I'm concerned, you keep talking about this being for youth sports, for the kids, but these are only for the kids who are paying to play. My kids go out and play in that park for hours. They run, they play, they explore, they visualize. They're getting away from nature deficit disorder. And they really, really, our family really enjoys the park the way it is. I feel there's a lot of other places where we can do youth sports that are behind gates and keys and that people pay for. And I would like for you to consider keeping the park passive from dawn to dusk, like it is now. And keep the nature for our family. Thank you.
Good points. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, sir. Your name?
Good evening. I'm Steve Ray. I'm Executive Director of the Banning Ranch Conservancy, but I'm not here to talk about Banning Ranch. Here in Costa Mesa, you do have a problem regarding sports fields. You want kids to have sports fields, and that's great. They should. You do have sports fields. There are problems relative to those sports fields that can be fixed relatively easily and relatively at a very cost-effective basis. But you do not solve this problem by creating an even bigger and much more expensive problem. And that's what you're doing if you decide to go with all of those items that are on the board that you're considering. Mr. Chairman, first of all, I want to thank you and I want to congratulate you on your rationale. Your rationale for opposing this is excellent and I agree with it totally. But there is one other aspect to that. And that is that you not only have a pact with the people that deeded this land, that you got this land from, to keep it open space. You also have a pact with everybody in this room and everybody in this city and all of their kids to also keep that open for them forever as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good.
Robin Leffler. I agree with what he just said, especially the deed restriction. That concerns me, that this was deeded to our city to be open space for posterity, not sports fields, which are basically open only to a few and closed most of the time. So, as I was saying earlier, there's 43,560 square feet in an acre. An adult softball field is 54,000 square feet, and that's just inside the perimeters. It doesn't give you any of the room for corner kicks or the audience or referees to run around on the outside. I'm not sure what the standards are there. There's more than an acre per soccer field. Baseball youth, just inside the diamond, infield only, 3,600. Adult, 8,100. That's inside the diamond only. When you add the outfield, we have about, for adult, it's from 435 to I can't read my own writing, 310 to 353 feet for left field margin, 302 to 326 right field, and a minimum required of 60 feet from the foul line and the baseline on two sides of the diamond. So when you add that all up, that can be about 3 acres for an adult field. Now, has anybody studied how many soccer fields, baseball fields, and acreage we actually have? And I saw on the screen that this was 45 acres on this section of the park. Now, some of it's taken up with parking. I don't know how much.
Yeah, but that 45 acres also includes the northeast section of the park, which is all hillside, okay?
Yes.
So it's not really 45 acres.
Yes, exactly. And the Banning Ranch Channel and all that, right?
That's right.
Okay. So I wanted to point out that in the letters packet, I didn't see a letter from Lori Hoskins. I don't know who else you might be missing. I just know that one because she forwarded a copy to me. And it was a really good letter. You should read it before you vote. It should have been here. I don't know why it's not.
Can you
Robin,
kind of wrap it up now, Robin, please?
I'm trying to, yes. Okay, so do you know how many acres in this city are given over to ball fields? And how many acres, compare that to how many acres of California grassland open space we have left?
Do you have the answer?
I do not know how many acres we have
we don't
on
either,
that.
but
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Steve Pope again. I wanted to make a quick comment about the fact that you've split these agenda items into soft surface developments and hard surface developments. Because maybe I'm wondering whether you're thinking that one is less invasive than the other. But in actual fact, both are equally destructive and equally irreversible. Thank you.
Thank you. You're right. Yes, sir. Your name, please.
Hi, I'm Jack Morales. I'm a going on 24-year resident. I've also been a longtime board member of the Little League when my son was there, and I'm currently president of Costa Mesa Pony Baseball. I sit in a monthly meeting with some representatives that represent some 10,000 kids. I've been going to these meetings for many years, and when I first started going, there wasn't a lot of representation there. But recently, I've seen and noticed that there is a shortage of fields. I know that not everybody agrees with that here, but if you sit in those meetings with us once a month, that's pretty much what rules our topics. There is a shortage of fields. The reason we have to use the school district fields is because the city does not own enough property to make more fields for the youth. And that's just a fact. Go during the daily pilot tournament, go to Costa Mesa High School, the farm complex, and try to find a parking spot over there. There are a lot of kids that play youth sports. And yes, more fields are needed. I'm not sure about the master plan, if it can be amended. And I'm pretty positive that responsible development can occur because I see it every day in the work that I do. So I'm just here to support the fields, whether it be at Fairview, or other places we can find.
Thank you, sir. Next, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Matthew Tautimas. I am the tribal biologist for the Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians. I am here with our tribal chairman as well as our tribal secretary and our tribal archaeologist. We'd love to be able to speak with all of you, but of course we're only given 2 minutes. Our main point here is we are the only descendants in this room from the people who actually utilized that land for thousands of years, and we are vehemently against any sort of construction or demolition of the groundbreaking land on that park. You, the folks of this generation, do not understand what you have under your feet. They do not understand that you have the answers to tomorrow under that land. Do you know that we have flu medication on that land? Do you know that we have cancer medication on that land? I will provide you with the scientific documents proving that. Our grandparents knew that. That's why we utilized it. And that was an area where we all came together and families came together, much like what we want for that land, to come together and everybody use it, not just one particular set of folks. And that has been the downfall of this generation, is that the single-mindedness of our land development. Our grandparents used everything. You all know that. And we are still here trying to scream to you to say, hey, look what you guys got. And you guys are the decision makers now. That's ridiculous. You have put on paper that you're going to leave that land alone, and now look at what you're doing today, deciding on to change that? That is our history with you guys. I'm sorry I'm getting so upset, but this is what causes us to get upset. Situations like this. So please, you guys are the decision makers today. Sir, you, Mr. James, you are the decision makers today.
Speak to the body, sir.
Well, you're the only one not looking at me. So please.
Come on, folks, please.
So please, take your positions in a responsible manner and make a decision for the people and for the natives of this land.
Thank you very much. Okay, please. Yes, sir. Your name again, please.
That's a little hard to follow. John Rubright again with AYSO 120. It's funny that everybody's against the a small area of this park being developed when I saw bulldozers making a pond. There's the train track that just keeps evolving and getting bigger and bigger, and it's development. You talk about runnage or drainage of the water. Well, those tracks are putting the water in a certain place. It's directing it. So all this stuff about, development, you guys it's already been developed. It hasn't? That's a building out there. That's development. So the thing is, then there's the whole thing about water. We could solve that by putting, if it were okay to have the sports field, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's turf fields, doesn't use any water. And if the water was reclaimed, because they do have drainage systems, it could be reclaimed and used again. And then the lady, Mrs. Keene, who talked to a school representative that said that the farm wasn't developed, Tewinkle School wasn't developed. There's 6 fields on Jack Hammett. That's 11 acres. That includes parking and 6 fields. This area that you're talking about, even if it was 20 acres, that's usable. The trains could coexist there, and sports multi-use athletic fields could also exist there too. Nothing to have to do with the other side where you made a pond and you have these trails that you go on and everything like that. That's all development. You're trampling on something, but it's not okay for a large community of kids who play sports. What happened to the kids of this community?
Sir, that's time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Gene Hutchins. I live in the so-called Upper Bird Streets in Mesa Verde. I've talked to a lot of people there. I don't find anybody that supports further development of the Fairview Park. It's really a unique piece of property, and actually with the contention that's going on, it would seem like the appropriate way to go would be to take a period of like 5 or 6 years, maybe even a little longer than that, really try to find some other property that works. And I'm sure that in that time, or certainly if we go through another recession and somebody is in trouble and they want to sell their property, that the city can maybe step up at that point and find a property that's appropriate. But to jump ahead with all this contention and disagreement, it seems like it's really premature to start trying to develop that property. And once it's developed, it's gone. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Gene. Sir?
Phil Chipman. I didn't mean to come up again, but when I heard the term responsibly developed, part of my career was a civil engineer. And when you go in and develop any piece of property, you have to rake off the topsoil. It goes. And in comes plant life that is not endemic to the nature. And all the materials that are brought in, they're not part of that environment. It's all brand new. So, and in fact, what you've done, not only have you sterilized that property, and even if it's 10 acres or 20 acres, but the resulting usage of it will forever condemn the wildlife that live around that area. You're talking about birds. Most of the wildlife is nocturnal anyway. You talk about lights in that area that ruins the whole way they live. So really, you can think of that area, that whole area being sterilized. All right, thank you.
Sir. Thank you. Next, please.
Thank you. Hopefully I could just sum it up real quickly. I'm sorry. My name's Andy Campbell, Costa Mesa resident for 18 years. I'm active youth sports volunteer. But there's more to life than sports. Passive recreation has extreme value in our community. The city approved and a developer just built a 55 and older community called Agilon right down the street from Fairview Park. I looked at their website today. One of the #1 things they tout on there is the walkability of that complex. So that ability to walk in Costa Mesa and have passive recreation in Costa Mesa has a high value for that developer, and it brings people to our city. So just want you to consider that the type of recreation we have available at Fairview Park does bring value to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is the last one. You, sir, are the last one.
I'm Keir Oxford Pope. I'm a high school student at the Waldorf School. I experience the park on a daily basis and would like it kept in its natural state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that closes the public comment on these 3 items. So at this point, is there any further discussion that the committee wishes to make? Mr. Cummings.
Well, it's been instructive, and I appreciate everybody's comments. And a lot of that does filter into how I view things. It seems to me that if we move on to the next step, there will be design studies of some kind. There will be some trade-offs. There'll be some maybe subcontracts, things to do to get that work done. And then, 4 months, 6 months, we'll be back here again. Probably many of you will be back here again, because the vote tonight does not halt. Well, it could halt, but if a favorable vote is made, it would not halt the studies, and then the results of the studies got to be reacted to and more questions asked and so on. One thing that we have not discussed as a committee is what are the constraints and trade-offs for the studies. We know from our trip to Riverside that when you isolate sports fields from your tracks with enough space, you don't need fences. But we know here we do not have enough space. And so to keep balls where they need to be and kids where they need to be, you're going to have fences. And some of them are going to be very tall fences. And I think that's a real sad twist, but I think it's a necessary twist. And we have not discussed the need for a pedestrian underpass. I think that's important. The grading and excavation required to do that, and the space required. You're going to need people to go under the tracks instead of over them, because right when you have maximum flow of sports kids coming in, you're going to have 75 trains going by during that same period of time on a Saturday or on a Sunday. So with all those things in mind, I'm going to join Dr. Marin and say no at this point, enough. We know the public's heavily opposed, and I believe my own vision of the constraints is that we'll get all done and say, Jay, this just barely fits. You can shoehorn it in. You can move tracks around some. But when you shoehorn it in and you make more and more fences, you're permanently converting the land to other uses, and you're denying access for all the people that use it today, which are quite a few. And you don't see them unless you spend some time out there, but the people are active. So I think the prudent thing to do would be to just pull the plug and then get down to the details of some of the things we can do realistically to make the park better for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings.
If I may, the public's had ample opportunity to go ahead and speak. Now is the time for the committee to go ahead and engage in their discussion. We would respectfully ask that you hold applause, allow them to engage in their discussion, and let them take their vote. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question for Bart or Ernesto. Is there any indication on the report analysis, final findings from U.S. Fish and Wildlife at this? Do we have any timetables?
Mr. Chairman, if I may respond.
Yes.
As you know, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife has given the city a letter requesting that the city put together a preservation plan and some other measures for conservation of the resources out at the park. That plan requires that we look at ponds or rather the vernal pools that are on the east side, those, and that we conduct surveys of those pools. It's unknown whether those pools contain fairy shrimp, and part of the studies would make that determination. And we've completed the dry season studies of those pools. It does require that we also conduct wet season studies. We have not had sufficient amount of water to be able to do that. But at this point, U.S. Fish and Wildlife has requested that we do delineate those areas until a determination is made as to whether those are viable pools that contain either fairy shrimp, protective fairy shrimp, because there's different varieties of fairy shrimp, or vegetation that is native vegetation. So at this point, there's no determination as to whether those pools are viable or not.
Okay. And as a follow-up, if this or any of the other two items were to carry for further research, would that be taken into consideration in your analysis then to see even the viability?
Absolutely. If you do move this item for staff to bring additional analysis for the committee to consider, we would not delve into the specifics as to whether those pools do contain protective species or not, because we don't have that analysis. But if you do, after we provide you some preliminary analysis, decide to move this item to the Park and Recreation Commission for further consideration, the commission would also take whatever results from the studies are arrived at to make their final determination to move the item to City Council for further direction.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, may I discuss further or turn the floor over to someone?
Before you do that, Mr. Smith has a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move, it's almost 8 o'clock. I move to extend this meeting to 8:30.
Second.
Is there a second for that? Second. Mr. Ramos?
Second.
Second. Okay, we got a second. All those in favor? Thank you. I think that's unanimous.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, now then, go ahead, Mr. Eccles. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be honest, over the past 18 months, heard a lot, and I've learned a lot, and appreciate everyone, their point of views, their passion, their opinions on this committee and in every public forum. I think there's contingents in the city, which is rightfully so. There's those who want open space at Fairview, and that's it. There's those who want sports, development sports complexes. And then there's those who might be somewhere in between. I'm the type of person who tries to find a compromise where possible. My opinion tonight is I would like to see a compromise at least considered in a vote tonight to carry these forward to simply be brought back for further research. They may not even be viable. I don't know until we study the issue. I do want to point out a couple things. A number of people in the public have commented. Some, I think, agree we do have a field shortage. Others still do not. Let me share some numbers. And before I do, I did share these at one of our second or third meetings, so I have done this. And this, whether this field stays, this park stays the same, changes a bit, changes not all, whatever, it's not just for me. I'm not trying to be selfish. I'm just trying to stick to some facts and look at flexible opportunities and options, because I'm not making these numbers up. These numbers are verified, submitted, and documented through the city of Costa Mesa. The city currently has 4 field locations, 4 under its control and management. That provides 11 playing fields, 1 of which is leased from the state, not owned by the city. 3 are permanently lit, 1 is temporary lit. In 2012, we had over 10,000 documented youths participating in 1 or more user groups. Yes, 1 or more. That doesn't take away from the hours on the field. They could be playing baseball, which would also entail softball, which would also entail soccer, whatever it may be. It doesn't change the hours on the field. Newport Mesa Unified School District, who we heard from Trustee Snell earlier, they currently, under their purview, have 32 playable fields, all various different sizes. To Ms. Leffler's comments, the field sizes on all these sites vary tremendously. Some are very small, some are a full-size soccer/football field, which is typically a 60 by 110 yard. You do the math on acreage. But Jack Hammett currently is the only premier sports complex that the city has under its purview. Go out there on a Friday night and answer the question, do we have enough sports fields? Go out there Monday through Thursday. Go out there Saturday. That place, in all honesty, is a zoo. But it's a great zoo because you see a bunch of kids that play. Currently, the city pays Newport Mesa Unified School District $170,000 a year for the joint use facilities that are on school district properties and pay up to 50% of the maintenance. The letter that was presented to us talks about the maintenance. We talk about lights. We talk about turfing. Lights is a part of the solution, no doubt about it. I am a proponent of lights. That doesn't solve the maintenance issue, though, and the number of feet on the ground. The current condition of many of these fields, they aren't even close to being adequate, and not because of anything, but there's potholes and everything else. This has causes for injuries with kids and adults. I've done it. Basically, Parks and Rec also has recommended a task force, and I think many I would love to see participate on that to find permanent solutions. Whether that includes Fairview or not, I don't know. But simply put, we're taking a guess. Members or participants in the public have mentioned Fairview Development Center. Cross your fingers if the state sells that. Cross your fingers if the city will be the ultimate winning bid to get said property. Then cross your fingers to see if it is used for fields. We don't know. I would love to see that, but I don't know. The golf course, some of the other areas that have been mentioned. might be a viable option. I don't know. Until we see that presented, it may or may not be. But guess what? A couple meetings ago, I invited many out to support AYSO in our fight for a lit field in the east side Costa Mesa. 3 people showed up that I recognized. Member Verska, Mr. Whitesburg, I believe Miss Mooney were there. So when you say, we need lights, and then don't help in that support, we're left with options like this. So again, I would recommend that a small portion of this park, the entire park, be used as a consideration to solve some of these field issues. What I can see in my compromise is coming in, said, oh, we need a sports development park here at Fairview Park. I've learned and listened, that's not what the community needs. But it's about sharing a compromise for everyone in the community. That includes for passive, open use space, and that includes for sports, youth athletics, exercise, and let's not forget the adults. People have been turned away. Adults have been turned away. I tried to create a program for adults in soccer, couldn't get a field to do on it. And finally, I'm just saying that recommending this proposal does not mean active fields go in. We simply need to study if they could even go in, and at that point, it goes to Parks and Rec, it goes to council, and guess what? That's why I asked about some of the other constraints from outside bodies. This may never, ever happen, but I view a master plan as just that, a plan, to be flexible and to have options. If we cut this out, there is no option ever for any reason. So I would propose that we carry items 1, 2, and 3 for further review by staff to be considered at a later time.
Is there further discussion from the committee?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Ambergy.
Just some basic facts some of the speakers referred to. If I remember right, Fairview Park entirely is 207 acres. The east side makes up about 53, and 10 of that is in the north. So we're talking about 43 acres, if I remember right, thereabouts. So 43 acres is just about the same size as Tewinkle Park, where I live. I live real close to that park. So I'm sure most people here have seen Tewinkle Park. I've referred to this before, but it has a little bit of everything. There's a big, huge pond, a lot of open area, there's fields, there's baseball fields, there's a skate park, a dog park, tennis courts. And I would consider that a usable park. I mean, I go by there on the weekends and people are having a ball. I love it. I love living close to that. And I hear a lot of the people when they talk about, putting in fields or growing grass, like this is going to be a scourge on the community. I mean, this is going to be, if it goes through, this would be something great, an asset to that area. But I think the real issue is some of the people that live there don't want people coming in their area. I think that's what it is. That's the impression I get. Because if you looked at it realistically, this is just my opinion. You guys got a shot at yours. So I think if you look at it realistically, a park, whether it has fields on it and kids are playing, I mean, it's open area. It's open space. And like I say, it's 43 acres out of the 207, so it's roughly 20% of the entire area. The other 80% we've virtually left untouched. Haven't done anything. So I think this would be a good trade-off. I'm in favor of items 1 through 3 also. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Davern.
I hike Fairview Park almost every morning before work, and I did 4 miles this morning. And I've been talking to people, the citizens at the park, since April last year. And the majority of those people want a sports field. And what people have...
Folks, excuse me. Excuse me. You've all had your chance to speak. Please, let him.
And what people aren't talking about is they're saying, well, you can go to Tewinkle. These people have to walk to the park. They live on the west side. And I drove by down Placentia today. I looked down Shalimar, and there's little kids playing soccer with cones on the street. And so we need to get those kids off the street, get them on soccer fields, and Fairview Park is a perfect place to do that. That's all I think.
Any further discussion? Mr. Pop, do you have anything to say?
I believe Anna was ahead of me. Go ahead and let her go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anna?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I apologize, Anna.
No problem, no problem. Thank you. So the last year and a half, I've spent some time, or maybe a lot of time, with youth sports organizations, going to games, going to their meetings. These are good people that spoke tonight. Some problems do exist, definitely. I've seen them, and they're trying to do a good thing. That being said, I think this is the completely wrong venue to be doing it in. Not this committee, not this park. There are a lot of different options. So while I'm in support for assessing the needs, making sure all the efficiencies within the scheduling and everything are being absolutely maximized, lighting, any other options in terms of land or other things are considered, but again, not here. So today, I will not be supporting the items 1 through 3. I think going forward would be a waste of time and resources. In my opinion, even this committee, although it's been nice getting to know the group here, has been a waste of time and resources. I mean, 2 years later, I think we're pretty much in the same place where we started. I don't think anything was really accomplished. No data was provided. I think the committee was premature in terms of the consultant that's going to be assessing community needs in terms of what we need both for recreation, for sports fields, interviewing community members, however that consultant is going to do it. I think it is also deciding anything is premature and presumptive as regards the Fish and Wildlife report. That is nowhere near reached its conclusion. There needs to be a wet season, is my understanding, before a true assessment can be made. So, and then my personal opinion is too, is that this committee, I thought what we would get to do is get together, look at the master plan, and go organically from there. But instead, pretty much from the very first meeting, I feel like we've been led down a path, no pun intended. And I just think it was really kind of a process that we were led down instead of it being organic, and I really don't agree with that too. So for those reasons and many others, because I know we're short on time, I will not be supporting items 1 through 3.
Okay, Mr. Pop, you have something to say?
Yes, I have 2 points, Mr. Chairman. First point is, I'm not a civil engineer, so I really need information from professionals in the field. I can't make a judgment based upon somebody who looked at Google and says, this is what has gone on there. I would like to see a professional engineer who stands behind his opinion. My field happens to be medicine and allied medicine, and I know that no one in this room would dream of calling a doctor out of the phone book and saying, here are my symptoms, send me a prescription. The doctor would do a workup. I believe the civilian expertise is also in engineering. Civil engineers would probably not do a full workup, would probably do a full workup before they put their reputation on the line. So what we're asking right now is, what actually do these ball fields and multi-use fields constitute? What do they do? We've heard a lot of opinions about how they're going to scrape away this or they're going to put this on there. Okay, let me have a civil engineer say, I hereby certify this is what's going to happen. I then can make a fairly good decision based upon what I think most people in Costa Mesa want. Actually, 3 points, Chairman, I'm sorry. Second point that comes up is Frank mentioned that he has talked to a number of people and they all pretty well said that they were happy with fields. I've also spoken to a number of people as I walk through the park. I haven't had universal agreement anywhere. In fact, most people there can't even tell me what they mean by natural, And I suspect there are probably about 110 definitions of natural in this room. However, the majority of the people that I talked to, the great majority, said we need to share it and to get along together and all use it. So saying that 40 acres is only for the trains or only for people who want to walk through the woods or only for bike trails seems to me to be selfish. It may be something we need to do, but we on this committee have nothing to do with that. What we are doing is saying these are ideas that the Parks and Recreation Commission should look at. They know the condition of fields. We've heard a lot of testimony tonight about what we should take out these golf courses. That's not our job in this committee. That's the Park and Recreation. So should we suggest to the Parks and Recreation that they look at athletic fields and study it in depth? That doesn't mean they will even study it, much less do it. But do we suggest that? Well, I can't answer that. I would like more information, so I will be supporting it. I also said that I had 3 points. My third point is this. Mr. Pope brought up the question of, or the comment of, he's tired of agendas. And I agree with that. I'm very tired of agendas. I'm sure we don't agree on the agendas that are most onerous, however. People in this committee have acted like ladies and gentlemen, have acted dignified, and have followed the rules. We've been lambasted for and demanded that we go this way or that way, and we've taken that because that's part of being a public servant, is what we really are. However, when you bring up the question of following the rules, our chairman asked you to withhold your applause. That's apparently too much to ask. It would be much more fun to cheer those you approve of and to deride and yell and scream liar at those that you don't approve of. This is immature behavior. It does not affect the committee, but it makes me think that there's an agenda that somebody's trying to push to influence us. That's not a good way to influence people who are trying to do a good job. Yelling, screaming, and acting like kids at a high school game is not a dignified behavior that influences government action. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Ramos.
Well, first I want to thank my committee members who have served on this committee here for 18 months. And sitting and listening, I think sometimes I don't say too much. I think recently, one of the meetings I had said that I think Ms. Black was at the podium, and I asked her, where are all these people that you represent? And I see where the people are tonight. I'm just awfully proud of the people that have shown up. I respect, I might not agree with all of you, but I agree that you care about my city, your city. I've listened to Ms. Varska. She did a really good job. I also know Mr. Eccles and what he's done. We have a chairman here who I'm still baffled by, and I say that respectfully. I believe you were a commissioner at one time of ASO, is that correct?
Not a commissioner, I was a coach, head coach.
You were a head coach.
For 11 years.
For 11 years.
Coached my cousin.
Okay, good. I would hope, and from day one, I've known that where you stand on this committee. And sometimes I think that if we could take your energy and you could see the other side of what we need. And I challenge you because I say you have that experience. You're on both sides now. And I'm not picking on you, I'm just saying that I see you as that. Out of this year and a half, two things happened that I saw, is that I saw the public step to the podium and care. And like I said before, I might not agree with them, but that was very important to me. Throughout this whole project, I have met with everyone except for Ms. Varska. And I really understand where we're at. We need to come together. We have great prospects here to put all this information together. I think Ms. Varska said this wasn't the area to do it, but we are here. The reality is we're here, and we're working with the information that was given to us. And that's what you have to base it on. Okay, so somewhere along the line, we need to bring all that to the top. I believe that we're on the right track. I'm not too sure about 1, 2, and 3, to be honest with you. I have my own thoughts. I go out to Fairview Park. We have sports at Fairview Park now. You go out there on Saturday, and you'll see families who bring their own cones and put their own field together and play. Then pick up their cones and go home. Recreational, sports, whatever you want to call it, they're enjoying the park. And that's what we have to look at about this park. I understand about the history of the park. I'm Hispanic. I'm sure at one time, way back, my culture owned this land. But that's in the past. We treasure the past. Sometimes we have to move forward. And I believe we're at the part in this city where we need to move forward. Now, we just need to find the way. And I think we've made a good step forward here. I respect our staff, all the work they do. And it's a very tough decision for me to make. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion from the committee? Anna Verska.
I would just like to respond to one thing Mr. Ramos, or Member Ramos, said. I have difficult time just making a decision or moving forward when the information is obviously incomplete and, as I've discovered in my process, oftentimes defective. I mean, so that's what I would say to that. I understand we are here, but decisions should be made on good, solid data and solid information. Thank you.
I'd just like to say to Mr. Ramos, you do understand that I was one of the people that spoke before the city council telling them that we didn't want to have athletic fields and so forth at Fairview Park, which the county was going to do. And so then we renewed that effort, and finally it came to the point where they said, okay, well, we're going to appoint a committee. And I was on that Fairview Park committee, the original one, for 17 years. And basically we tried to deal with the county to tame down some of the things they wanted to have. They wouldn't hear of it. They wouldn't budge. They wanted to have overnight camping. They wanted to have a lake with fishing. They wanted to have a big sports complex up on the Mesa. So I went back before the council and I said, we need to buy this property. Oh, everybody kind of laughed. That wouldn't happen. But the council was listening, and that's what they did. And for 15 years, I was chairman of that committee. That's where I'm coming from, okay? I love that property. I love that park. And I think it should be kept the way it is.
Mr. Commissioner, Chairman, I'm not challenging that. What I'm asking you is, you've been on the other side. You understand.
I have been. And
Excuse me. You understand the children and the kids, the community. Okay? Give us, the people that come up that have said, we want this, give us your input on that. Just as passionate as you are about, because you have been on both sides. And that's the point I was bringing.
Okay.
Thank you.
I fully agree that there's a lack of athletic facilities in this city. That is because the council has not focused enough on providing that property. And I hold this council responsible for that and for this whole thing that we've been going through for over a year here with this committee. That's the way I feel.
Mr. Chairman?
Please, no applause. Please,
Mr.
no
Chairman?
applause. Yes, Mr. Eccles?
Yes, may I make one point on that? Again, where? I've heard Fairview Development Center, not an option today. I've heard golf course. You want to talk about controversy? Let's go take away some holes. Not saying it's not a good idea, just watch out for the 9 irons in the next public meeting. So, other than that, to my knowledge, I don't know this plot of land that council or anyone can just snap, pick up, solve a field problem.
have you seen the council come up with a program where they say, okay, we're going to have a committee that's going to go around this town and find available property?
Yes, I did. Parks and Rec in their September meeting proposed that.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Aracal also went on record as saying he wanted facilities at Fairview Park.
Now,
Yeah, you did too.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would like to, maybe this thing might be getting away from us a little bit in all fairness. I would simply like to make a motion.
Yes.
This is not a motion how I'm gonna ultimately vote. I don't know until, as Member Pop said, Mr. Ramos said, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I would like to make a motion that we simply carry items 1, 2, and 3 to, for staff to bring back at our next meeting.
Second.
Okay, let's call for the vote.
All second.
He gave it a
I'm sorry.
second.
Sorry.
Amber, you gave it a second.
Frank.
Okay.
No, Frank did. Davern.
Davern did?
Davern did.
Okay. All right, so let's call for the vote. Those in favor signify by raising your hands. Okay, those opposed? Thank you.
Motion passes 5-4.
Thank you. Please contain yourself. Okay, let's go to the next item. And I'm going to go to number 4, which is expansion of the Orange County Model Engineers tracks, okay?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
We're close to 8:30, so before we get on that item, you may want to consider a motion to extend the time before we get involved in that discussion.
thank you, Yolanda. How about it, folks? Do we go for another half hour so we can finish this up? Can I have a motion, please, and a second for it?
I move that we continue the meeting to 9 o'clock.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. We'll proceed. We need to have a vote on it. All those in favor of extending the time? No, we don't. I don't see full hands there. Mr. Pop doesn't want to extend the time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Those opposed?
Those opposed?
Tired.
I'm sorry.
Motion passes 6-3.
Okay, so we're going to extend till 9 o'clock. So next item on the agenda is OCME track expansion and improvements. Discussion from the commissioners or committee members. Yes, Mr. Cummings.
Let me explain this item. In November of 2010, OCME prepared a future track plan and overlaid it on the existing track plan, and it was a feasible plan in terms of building. What that really means is the elevations and the contours were taken into consideration. And it was also what OCME thought a very good plan in terms of operations, flexibility, having backup tracks to use when primary tracks were out of service, this kind of thing. And the Parks and Recreation Commission at that time deemed that track plan to be in conformance with the existing master plan. And what that means to us here, I believe, is there's no need to act on it up or down. Every step of implementation in the future would rerun by the Parks and Recreation Commission for specific authorization. And as it stands, it gives us a reference to look at with the studies that were just approved. They can look at those plans and see where the impacts are. We'll work with them as well, if that's desired. So I would suggest that this could be just noted in the minutes that the plan exists, that it had the conformance to the master plan passed in 2010. And of course, if the new master plan changes things, it can go back or be modified and go back. So I don't believe that we really have to spend additional time on it, but we can. That's, of course, up to you.
Is there further discussion from anybody on the committee relative to this? None? So does the committee wish to take a vote on this or not?
Mr. Chair, I believe we do have to open it up for public comment. It's on the agenda.
Okay. So,
I'll be brief.
Harold, please.
Harold Whitesburg, resident, Costa Mesa. Quick thing. One, I do not think we should be expanding the tracks. I think they're in a good place. Whether or not they need maintenance or not is something else that we need to take a look at. Number two, I don't agree with putting any sports fields in Fairview Park. I agree with keeping it natural. I tend not to agree with Ron or Dennis or Lee about many things. Brett and I find agreement on some things sometimes, and Anna and I tend to agree on a lot. But what's certainly not acceptable is people screaming from the audience. This really has to stop, because any attempt at convincing these people to stop sports fields is going to be greatly impacted in a negative fashion, because they're going to be pissed off at people who are screaming at them from the audience. And they may, just out of spite, say, you know what, we're going to vote for sports fields. So let's have a discussion and not an argument. I think it's really important.
Thank you, Harold. Next, ma'am. Again, please, a little louder.
Lila Amore.
Lila Moore.
There's somebody on the committee here that came to my house, knocked on my door, and asked for my vote, and told me how they felt, that they agreed with me, and now I see they're voting differently. My husband is a handshake kind of guy, and if he gives you his word, you don't need his signature.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Your name?
Pilar Chandler. I'm a longtime Costa Mesa resident. Grew up here, raised my children here. I'm also a business owner here. I just have a couple points to make from the last discussion of the members. To Member Pop, I don't know if you were here at that meeting where they had the scientists that came, and I thought it was really interesting because I learned a lot about the difference of opinion of paid scientist versus volunteer scientist. I thought that was incredibly informative, that the ones that were paid by the city to tell us if there were archaeological things worth saving at this whole property said no. But the volunteer scientists, who were just as educated and just as whatever, valuable, thought otherwise, that it was incredibly important to save. So I think that it's interesting to ask for engineers, but it's also interesting to know what their backing is from. Also, on the point of the trains and the expansion and the improvements, I love the trains. I've been riding them since I was a little girl. And I don't know that we need expansion. I think the improvements for the existing track would be important. Although it is development, it's a really non-invasive way to experience the park. I think it's actually less invasive than some of the walking tracks and the bicycle paths that we have. The fact that they're really only running one time a month, and yes, there's a lot of them, but that's, to me, I'm not an engineer or a scientist, but it seems like it's less impact and a great way to maintain the natural state of the park and the wildlife, but also experience it and have a lot of people experience it. I have been coming to these meetings also for about a year, and to agree with Member Vriska, it seems like we're in the same place. Like, we keep bringing these things up again, and I don't always speak, but my opinion is to keep it as natural as possible.
Ma'am, it's time.
Okay. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Last one.
Hello again.
I agree with what she just said about this is not an invasive use of the park. In fact, it's a means to better enjoy the natural features of the park. And like I said before, I love to see that rolling grassland. If it's golden, some people think it looks like weeds. I think it looks like California. I just love it. I think that the model train tracks and the whole configuration, the whole setup is perfect the way it is. There's been a little talk about a museum of some sort. They have a little gift shop at the station, little village almost. That might be a perfect place to put something like that. But please, just leave them the way they are. Thank you.
Mr. Munoz, do you think that I should take a vote on this particular issue or not?
Yeah, they need to ask for a motion and
Okay.
a second and
All right.
vote.
Okay. I ask that only because Mr. Cummings seems to think we don't need to take a vote on it.
Mr. Chairman, if Mr. Cummins requested that this item be put on the agenda, and he's asking that the item be removed from the agenda for consideration, then I would say don't take a vote. If the item is remaining on the agenda, I would ask for a motion and, and a vote.
Excuse me.
I ask for a motion then.
I'll make a motion. Approve it.
Okay, do we have a second? I don't see a second. It dies for lack of a second.
May I ask, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
May I ask Member Cummings, understand what you're saying about the expansion, what's in the existing plan. A couple speakers talked about improvements. Do you feel the existing master plan, being that you're knowledgeable, obviously, with the train, is that allowable in the constraints in the current master plan for improvements?
I believe that the expansion that we proposed was conforming with the plan. And the Parks and Recreation Commission at the time voted that way. The only purpose really of having it on the table here is so it gets on the record that that's back there. You know, the city could send a design team off without that item being noted, and they'll come back with something that's, I would say, in a major interference with that plan.
Terry, let's just go ahead and take a vote on it. It'll take us less time overall. Sorry.
I believe we did have a motion and it died for lack of a second.
So that died, yeah, died for a lack. Okay. All right. Last item. Basketball, handball courts, roller hockey surface. Discussion from the committee members. None? All right, then we'll proceed to public comment. Keep it minimal, please.
Larry Corder again. One thing I would have you pay attention to is in the trust deed that the city has for ownership of the park. There is, I'm not an attorney, so I can't say it legally. There is an issue that if the conditions and terms are not met, that park can revert back to the original owners. And I would hesitate to have that happen.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Andrew Campbell. I'll go by Andrew this time. I'm a state certified hydrogeologist and a registered geologist. My registration number is 6110. You can look me up on the State of California website. I don't have an engineering report to provide you. I have refereed hundreds of hours in soccer, and you need to have a flat field. You have to have the same thing for basketball fields. The slopes of that section of the park are fairly steep. You're going to have to cut as much as you're going to have to fill. My current occupation is a groundwater recharge coordinator for Inland Empire Utilities Agency. I dig holes for a living. We just finished a 200,000-yard excavation for a recharge pond. You're talking a very similar amount of excavation to level that field. Now, I haven't done any measurements, but just based on my understanding of the areas and the change in slope, that's what you're talking about. I don't know if that's in your CEQA document or if the lighting is in your CEQA document from the original master plan, but you're also looking at redoing your secret document if you're going to make that kind of change from your master plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Sheila Paflin. First, I would point out again that overwhelmingly the public that has spoken at these meetings is opposed to this process. Now, getting more information is fine if there is some reason why you would want to proceed. However, given it is an expensive process and should not be engaged in where there is no basis for going forward in the first place, it seems to me that given the overwhelming objections to these plans, that it is unreasonable to spend the public money necessary to go into the details of them. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, Steve Ray again. I want to kind of reply to several comments that I've heard. First of all, I would agree with Mr. Whitesburg here that respect is due and courtesy should be shown by the audience here. Having served as a public official for quite a few years, I've been on the downside of a lot of feelings and comments as well, so I certainly appreciate how that works. Other comments related to the topic at hand. First of all, I'm disappointed that we're kind of moving forward with, with something that I think from a community standpoint is not well supported. I don't think anybody in here opposes ball fields or sports fields, athletic, opportunities for our youth. I served as a Little League baseball coach for many years myself, so I've been on that side too. I know how difficult it is. The question is this the appropriate place for that? And I think the view of most of the people in the room here is that no, it's not. Let's have sports fields. I know one of the speakers from one of the leagues talked about the fact that the fields aren't maintained. Well, if you want to do something for the youth sports groups, why don't we start maintaining the fields, first of all, so the kids aren't tripping in potholes and everything else? There are a lot of things that can be done to make it safer for kids, and there are also expansion opportunities, and those can be explored. It's just, this is not the place. There was also a comment about listening to experts, and experts have their role in this, but the only experts are not just the ones hired by the city. Myself, I've been involved in this environmental field for 40 years. I've served in many positions, including Director of Education and Conservation for Catalina Island. I've supervised teams of PhDs working on projects in the field. So there are us out here that you might want to listen to as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, these are the last two.
Margaret Mooney, Costa Mesa resident, and you talk about we need more fields. Again, the city has to buy something, as Dr. Marin said many years ago. They said, buy it, do it. You say that there are no fields. There are fields. The problem is lighting those fields. So put the recommendation to the Parks and Recreation and then to the City Council that they get off their duffs, spend the money, stop, trying to get money from developers or anybody else, but spend the money for lighted fields. Smallwood Park is not lit, Balearic Park is not lit, and that's lots of space that can be used. That's only two. There are more throughout the city. And the experts are many people with professional degrees in this audience. Your experts are your community members. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve Pope. Given that I was called out by name by Mr. Pop, I'd like to respond. First of all, I've spoken maybe 24 times over the last year and a half, and I've shown you all the utmost respect, and I've also hopefully been informative. Secondly, I was actually at this committee meeting way back when the whole list that's on the flip chart over there was produced. And I would just like to point out that all of the contentious items, so all of the fields and courts, actually were proposed by 2 members from a 9-man committee. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Jay, you're going to be the last one.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Jay Humphrey, Costa Mesa resident. First, on to item 5 and 6. I cannot see any reason we would put concrete in the ground in Fairview Park. Yeah, I'm sorry. We have handball courts in a variety of places in the city. I think at Schiffer Park. And I've actually never seen anybody play handball over there. So we surely don't have a lack of handball courts, I don't think. Same thing with roller hockey and what have you. We have adequate facilities elsewhere in the city that have already developed, have already put concrete in the ground, have already taken trees out, taken a variety of different life types out of those areas, and we've already made them urbanized communities, and I would be against 5 and 6 in any way, shape, or form. But to the point about fields, because it's been brought up by a number of people, a number of places, and I keep hearing we don't have more land. Well, we are able to develop at 50% over what is the standard we've had here in the city for years, and no incentives other than to say, hey, come build what you want. But no incentives that say, give us affordable housing, give us a cost to help us include and build parks as a fair share of that process. Certainly we have park fees, but those park fees are only chargeable right now on for sale independent individual housing. If we are talking about apartments, which by the way, the vast majority of the development approved in the city has been for apartments, we don't get any money from it, except we've actually had a couple things happen lately. But if the city council really wanted to have more fields in appropriate areas and preserve the kind of legacy we can preserve for the future, they would find ways to accomplish that goal. So my concern here is that we do have the method to do it. We do have the things in place to do it. We just are not taking those steps. We're choosing to use that money for other things that may or may not be at the same priority level that we all have on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Okay, that closes the public comment on this particular item. Is there any further discussion at all from the committee regarding this item?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Pop.
Okay, looks like I got all kinds of comments to make back. Mr. Pope, I certainly hope you don't think that I disparaged you in my comments. I simply said that I definitely agree that there are agendas here, and I'm tired of them, but we don't necessarily agree on what the agendas are that we're most tired of. I highly respect your opinion and the fact that you're devoted enough to come here week after, or month after month. It's been a tough 18 months for me, and you've been here every time, so I really appreciate that. Also, Andrew, as a professional, there you go. As a professional engineer, you gave your opinion, and I really appreciate that, and it carries a lot of weight with me. Would that apply also to the baseball fields as far as having to excavate so much?
Yes, if you want to make a flat surface, you're starting with the slope. You can just imagine a slope. You've got to take this top half off and put it at the bottom and flatten it out.
So that would, okay, good, thank you. In my own field, which is nursing and associated with medicine, we have a lot of people who are experts. We have a very, very highly qualified expert cardiac surgeon who basically is a huckster for supplements. So he's a cardiac surgeon, but he really doesn't know a whole lot about nutrition, however he sells supplements. So just because someone has a PhD doesn't mean that I'm going to believe him. I'm going to be very skeptical. In your case, Andrew, as a professional engineer in that field, I find that very interesting that you made that comment, and it's something I'm going to be considering for some time. As far as having our civil engineers give a report when they put their license on the line, they also, I expect, will be based on fact. And Mr. Humphrey, I will not be supporting this particular vote simply because I agree with you. Once you place concrete in there, Nobody's going to take it out. So if we had 100% certainty that most people in Costa Mesa would like it, it might be worth putting in. But 10 years from now, there will be another committee, and they are not going to be able to get the concrete out. So I will be opposing this motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, if this motion's made, I won't be supporting it. I don't think, as Mr. Humphrey did point out, I don't believe there is a need currently with handball courts, roller hockey surfaces. I think there's gymnasiums in the city, boys and girls clubs, things of that nature for basketball. I don't know that much about roller hockey, but that's number one. Number two, I think this would, to put concrete in the park doesn't coincide with my earlier point about compromise and trying to leave as much natural and accommodate other things. And I don't think this would fit in this park. So I would not support this.
Okay, I think it's time then. We don't have any further discussion, and we've had public comment on this item. Let's call for the question then.
You need an actual motion.
First of all, we have to have a motion and a second.
I'll move.
You move?
I'll move.
Got a second?
Yes, sir.
Don't see it. Dies for lack of a second. Okay. Next item is, do you want to extend for 15 minutes so we can close the meeting?
No, keep it going.
You want to keep on going? You want to stop here? That's what I'm asking. Would anybody make a motion to continue for, say, another 15 minutes? We can go through committee member reports, public services director report, city attorney report, adjournment.
May I just, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
May I just ask, is there a city attorney report and public service director report?
None from me
None from me
tonight,
either.
Mr. Chairman.
I think, in my opinion, every member has spoken, but I would move to adjourn unless someone wants to.
Okay, I will agree with that, except for one thing. I have a statement to make here. I've been wanting to make this for a long time. I think this committee should not be called the Citizens Advisory Committee, but more appropriately, the Mayor's Fairview Park Advisory Committee. The selection of this committee assured that the result would be in favor of athletic facilities. In my opinion, the only fair way to get citizens' input is to have it as a ballot measure where all can vote on it. We can't just let 6 men on this committee decide it for us. With this said, I am resigning in protest to the results of this committee decision, effective immediately. Thank you all for your attendance. I will.
You can't resign.
Did we get a motion to adjourn?
Steve?
Can we get an actual vote
Are we
to adjourn?
adjourned?
Yeah, we're adjourned. Good night.